Hey, I hope you're well. I know it's been a while since I've sent out an email to you. One of the things that I would like to say to that is I am a team of one. And until I am a team of many who can manage an email list and all the things, I have been in the active practice of simplifying my life so that I don't burn myself out so I don't crash out really. And one of the things is reviving my Patreon because I've been trying to do a better job of tapping into my creativity. And having a Patreon account is one of the ways to do that, as well as to provide some sort of an income for myself. Uh, and that has been an interesting journey that I share a little bit about in the Patreon. But if you are interested after the end of watching this video that you'd like to connect with me on Patreon, it is absolutely free. You can join and check out the $3 tier for 7 days. And after 7 days, if you choose to do just revert back to free, you absolutely can. And I have two other accounts, two other tiers, excuse me, that can have a little bit more information to them. And if you just want to check it out, the link for the Patreon will be below this video. And so I'm just that's all I'm going to say about that because I'm team of one right now and I'm being kind to myself. Also, another thing, I just finished reading The Alchemist for like the fourth or fifth time. And it's is the reason why I mentioned that is because this last time I actually thought about reading another different book and Spirit was like, read The Alchemist again. And it wasn't even that wasn't even the nth sign. It was like maybe the third sign to like get a to nudge to reread the book again. Um, but I'm glad I did because there's the book is so wonderful and there's always new things that I notice when I'm reading it or that kind of stick out at me that apparently Spirit like the Spirit wants me to pay attention to, and for that I'm incredibly grateful. And the reason why I mentioned all of that is, yes, I'm doing the Patreon, but I'm also wanting to share with you, just for full disclosure, if you've ever come to me for specifically Reiki, that is still possible in the newest version of who I am being now, but it's more towards instead of just calling upon my spirit guides, I'm also calling on my ancestors to guide me. Um, as I work with you and my ancestors to be in communication with whichever ancestors wish to show up for you during the sessions. It's more still the framework of Reiki, but it's more kind of like a spiritual kind of consultation sort of thing. And not necessarily Reiki per se, even though it is energy work and even though it's still just kind of like our higher selves having conversations with each other. It's much more um earthiness. It's much more for me, it's much more getting in touch with my indigeneity as an African American woman and as someone who has on my father's side lineage to the Cherokee and the Choctaw community. Because I've lived in Tennessee my entire life and I think most, if not all of my the lineage of my mother and my father's side is in from this area. So it's just really just me just tapping more into that and connecting more with that, and that is what I've been doing, really, most especially over like the last year and a half, is just kind of reconnecting with all of those parts of me in the wake of healing a lot of self-loathing from a lot of anti-blackness that I kind of grew up with as a kid, that I experienced as a young adult, and that I am uh, still recovering from. So yeah, and I'll leave it at that. Yeah. So just basically not really a whole lot of difference. It's just I don't really fall behind the banner of Reiki like I did officially. And I think a large part of that was like fear. Um Fear of losing the identity of being a Reiki practitioner, which if I feel like if I'm losing the fear of the identity of being a Reiki practitioner. It's not that what the work that I did was inauthentic. I don't want to follow a path and where I am being inauthentic and any inkling, any whiff of it being insincere. And I'm like, no, there's too many people doing insincere work, let alone doing insincere energy work. For that, just no. That's okay. I'd rather step away and not do any of it than have any way that me not being cool about it. So I think that's why I'm really grateful for the Patreon community that I've set up or revived, is because I have those that place to really heal the creative parts of me that didn't get a chance to like develop and flourish as well as it could have when I was younger. I completely understand why, grew up in a practical household where creativity only went so far as if you were actually like maybe decorating a cake per se or something like that. Didn't get a good chance to be all of my creative self the way I'm getting to now that I'm older, most especially since I feel like I've had that license to do that, especially since my mom passed away. Um, just I think a part of working through the grief was being able to tap back into a lot of that creativity that was just asleep for a really, really long time. So yeah, that's kind of what's up. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to email me back. If the thought of ancestor veneration is really just kind of like no, thank you, that's all right. I completely understand. It took me a long time to work through how I felt about it as well. But I, the more that I intentionally work with and request the guidance support um, of my ancestors, the more freeing I've felt, the happier I've felt, and the more unapologetically me I've been. And the more I've loved myself and the more I've embraced me, which has been like, I, I, I don't even have the words. I don't have the words. It's been joyous, to say the least. Yeah, I think that's it. So if it's easier, if you would like to participate in the Patreon community, again, feel free to join. Um, and that'll be the easiest way for me to send out messaging and posts and things and and encourage more interaction and engagement with the folks that still want to hang out and anything like that. And if you know anybody who is a retired crash out or is looking to be a retired crash out, they are and they feel like they're spiritual. They are more than welcome to join my Patreon community. And yeah, I think that's it. So I love you. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video and take care.